All right, welcome. I'm Suzanne Lovejoy. I'm the current chair of NEMLA for about 4 more hours. And I'm very happy to see all of you here today. And I would like to thank our hosts, Simmons College, and especially Dean Michele Cloonan of the Library School, who is here to welcome us.
Thanks, Suzanne. That was lightning fast. So I am so happy that you're here at Simmons this year. For those of you who might have graduated, is there anyone here who might have graduated from here more than 8 years ago? So you've noticed a couple changes on campus? It's a much more delightful setting than it used to be. Many years ago, I guest lectured regularly for Josephine Fang, who taught preservation in the summer, and that's my area of expertise. And it was a pretty sad-looking campus in the 80s. You know, the linoleum was sort of, buckling in the old library building. But I started here in August of 2002, 3 weeks after our building, One Palace Road, opened. And there's been almost continual construction since then. We can't do too much building anymore. I think we've decided there's a footprint for one more building because we're pretty bound by our neighbors. For those of you who haven't been in this area before, this is the Longwood Medical Center. So the Merck Research Center is across the street, as is the Harvard Medical Research Center, Harvard Medical School. The Latin School, the oldest school in the United States, is to our left. And a lot of the building that's happened over the last decade has happened over in that center. Emmanuel is the college right across the street from us, and then it's our dormitory campus, and then it's Wheelock College. So, and then that way, we've got Mass College of Art, the MFA College of Art, Wentworth, and a bunch of other schools. So there's about 30 colleges within a 10-minute walk. And there's about 80 colleges in Boston, so it's unique. Emmanuel had some extra land, and they leased it for 100 years to Merck, and they're living off the nice proceeds of that now for their school. So I've never been, I think every campus I've been at, people have complained about parking or there wasn't enough room on campus, but here, the value of space is greater than any place else I've ever been. The hospitals would love to tear down all of the schools here and just build new additions and more parking. And in fact, we do lease parking out to Children's Hospital because they're just desperate for parking over there. So it's been a real pleasure to be at Simmons for the last decade. Simmons is one of the oldest programs in the country. We have a sizable student population. We have about 60 doctoral students and close to 700 master's students here in Boston. And then at our campus, well, it's not a campus, in our space on the Mount Holyoke campus out west. And so we have a lot of students in that program from sort of southern Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut down to Yale, a little bit of New York. And so it's sort of Simmons in the country. It's very nice out there, very different feeling. Everybody knows everybody out there. It's a smaller program, and the classes only meet Thursday nights and Saturdays, so people really do know one another. They do a class picture every year. They seem to party up quite a bit more than we do, even here in Boston. And in Boston, I think one of the things that I've seen, which I think is a wonderful change, is the students are very engaged in the student activities on campus. And most of the professional associations have student chapters. And ASIST, which is the Association for Information Science and Technology, they have had an active student chapter program for a long time. And I think we've won Best Student Chapter of the Year 6 or 7 times, which is wonderful. And I think that engagement has increased because there have been some interesting changes in our student population. When I went to library school, these many decades ago, I was the youngest person in my class. and because I went straight from college, which was rather unusual. And in the 70s, the academic market was sort of falling apart. So most of my classmates had master's degrees or PhDs. Very different. So the average age was about 35, and that's sort of been the average age of our students until the last 10 years. And now the average age is 26, and many of our students come straight from college. So what's the significance of that? I think it's twofold, or maybe threefold. One, I would say 10 or 15 years ago, high schools started to require a service learning component. So that means we have students who've been volunteering sometimes since they were in junior high school. We had one student specializing in public libraries a few years who said that basically she had 12 years of library experience because she started as an 11-year-old shelving in her local public library and then worked in libraries all the way until she got to library school. And also there's a sense of engagement in a way that I think when I was in library school, I don't even know if there were student chapters at the University of Chicago. If there were, they weren't advertised. And it was very much about studying 24/7. That was very much the culture. Or if you worked, working and just coming to school for the classes. But now I think the students are more engaged in that kind of external experience that's the beginning of networking. I mean, I think of all the professions out there, we are the great networkers. And to get that experience when you're in the program is great because that's what you're going to be doing the rest of your career. We have an alternate spring break. So we've adopted schools. There have been a variety of activities around there. We have the Progressive Librarians Guild. We had students involved in the Occupy movement. So there's quite a lot of activity, which I find very exciting, because it's great to see people engage in the profession, not just in taking courses. So other things that I just want to bring you up to speed on in the school is that we've had continuing education here since 1980. We offer about 60 courses a year, and about 97% of those courses are now online. So we have people taking courses through our CE program from all over the world. And we're also beginning to create certificate programs. So we're doing one that's going to launch this summer on digital curation, digital preservation. Oh my God. Digital stewardship, that's what it is. I'll land on it eventually. And in January, we launched one for school librarians on information technology. So I think that we're growing in new and different ways, which makes us a fun place to be. And I think I've always felt since I've been here that we're very much citizens of the cultural community of the Boston area. Our students certainly work all over here, and the professionals here are very inviting. So we've expanded our internship program, and it's always been a pleasure to work with professionals in the area. Having said that, a lot of our students come from other parts of the country, and I'd say in any given semester we have students from about 35 states and maybe 10 countries. So it's a dynamic place from that point of view as well. So I'm also very glad to have you here because I love MLA. I wish I had a gift for music. I don't. I just enjoy listening to it, which I do a lot in Boston because this is a wonderful venue for musical events. In fact, tonight it's Handel and Haydn Society over at Jordan Hall. You could go to a musical event just in classical music every night of the week, with the conservatories we have here as well as all of the groups, so it's really a privilege to be here. When I was a doctoral student at the University of Illinois, I literally lived with music librarians. My landlady was head of the Sonic Society, and my dissertation advisor was president of MLA when I was working for him. So it was music bibliography in particular, because Don Crummell was, Mr. Music Bibliography. So it was fun to work with him on his various projects that he had going on then. And I was delighted when I came to Simmons to meet Gene and to see that we had been offering music librarianship for a number of years. Sadly, I don't think that there's that many LIS programs that offer music librarianship on a regular basis, though I do think there's a possibility for some growth there because we now have programs like the WISE Consortium. Do any of you know about the WISE Consortium? It was the brainchild of some folks at Illinois, Washington, and Syracuse to share courses online. Because one of the challenges we have in LIS programs is that we're relatively small, but the areas we encompass are huge and ever expanding. And so it's just not practicable, for example, for one school to have Middle East librarianship. So the idea was that through something like WISE, we could share some of those kinds of courses. And so I think through that forum, that's a great opportunity, because I don't necessarily see growth in some of these special areas in most of our programs. I think we're all hustling to offer some of the basics and more technology courses. So in fact, I know that WISE has had some musical offerings in the past, and hopefully that will remain the case. So I hope that you have a wonderful meeting here. I'm going to have time to sit through one session this morning, and then I'll be back for the panel this afternoon. I want to thank Anna and Suzanne and M. Claire Knowles. M. Claire, where are you? M. Claire actually, although I was generously thanked at the beginning, I'm just the yes person, and then I depend on other folks to actually help to implement these ideas, and M. Claire is the great implementer. So thanks to M. Claire for making this day possible, and I hope you have a chance during lunch. It's not as beautifully warm as it was yesterday, but at least it's not raining, so you might have a chance to walk around. The most recent building on campus is that one there. It's the School of Management, and it's a Leeds building. Their motto for the School of Management is principled leadership, so the former dean there was adamant that they had to have a sustainable building. And there's some nice, this group is a little bit too big, but a nice venue on campus is to eat in the dining room up there. And then there's a nice view of the skyline of Boston. So it's a nice building to see. And then some of you may know that the Gardner just opened its addition a few weeks ago. Well, no, a couple months ago, January, which we're thrilled about because their restaurant was out of commission for 2 years, and that's a place where we could go to eat lunch. But it's really lovely, and if there's time and you can see the addition to the building, I highly recommend that you do that. It's pretty small, so it won't take you too long to go through it. Great, so I will see you later, and thanks for inviting me to introduce you.